Welcome to a t-shirt giveaway from the Ultralight Airplane Workshop. We're giving away t-shirts to 3 lucky winners to celebrate reaching 250 subscribers on the channel. There's going to be 3 components to this video. We will select our 3 winners right up at the front, and I will talk about some of the comments that those 3 winners had. I'll select some comments from the video a week ago announcing the t-shirt giveaway, and I will select comments from some other videos, and I'll answer those comments or respond to the comments. At the end of the video, I'll provide the information that the 3 winners need in order to get their t-shirts. Well, thanks to everyone who's been commenting on the videos that have been going up. Special thanks to everyone who subscribed to the channel and then also provided comments. I've really enjoyed reading them and responding to them. Now let's get to that t-shirt giveaway. Now it's time to pick 3 winners for the 250 subscriber t-shirt giveaway. I use a little plugin on YouTube called TubeBuddy to pick a winner, and it will pick a winner from the people who have submitted a comment on this video. And I get a winner by clicking this little button here, and our first winner is... Hi, Keith! Well, Keith's going to get another t-shirt. Keith got a t-shirt for becoming a designer tier subscriber on Patreon, and it looks like Keith just won another t-shirt. So congratulations, Keith. Okay, winner number 2. You are AJ Cody. Congratulations, AJ. You'll get a t-shirt. And let's pick winner number 3. Oh, Nat, you're a winner too, so you will get the 3rd t-shirt. I'll go back now and look at their comments and make my own comments on their comments. Let's talk about Keith's comment first. He says that he's going to wear the t-shirt that he got from his subscription as a designer tier on Patreon to his monthly EAA meeting. Well, thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that. And we'll give you another t-shirt, so maybe you can give that to somebody, or you can get a different color and have a couple t-shirts to wear. Our second winner was AJ, and he says he's been flying Pipers for 10 years and plans to do Ultralight someday too. Well, I grew up flying in a Piper as a kid in a 4-place Piper Tripacer for I don't know how many years. We flew all over the place. We went to Dallas many times, went down to Brownsville and Padre Island. We went to Chicago. We went to Oshkosh many times. We flew out to LA, flew up to Maryville, Missouri many times. Butler, Missouri, flew all over. And Onat, you just got your comment in 2 days ago. You were the last person to comment, so that worked out pretty well. And he's a free flight model builder. Well, that's pretty cool. I saw a movie at the Fly-In Theater in Oshkosh this last summer, 2019, where part of the movie it was an old black and white movie, and a lot of that movie was based on kids flying free flight airplanes around. That was a very enjoyable movie. Well, congratulations on getting your t-shirts, you winners. If you did not win a t-shirt this time, but you would like to have one, there's a couple things you can do. You can wait until we reach the 500 subscriber limit, and we'll do another t-shirt giveaway. Or you can join Patreon and subscribe to the Ultralight Airplane Workshop channel at the designer tier level. After your second invoice, you will get a free t-shirt. And let's address some of these other comments. Some of them are pretty interesting. Rubin says he's been subscribed for about a year now, or at least watching for about a year now. And he's glad that more people are finding the channel. I'm pretty glad about that too. And fortunately, we're still growing. In fact, at the time that I'm recording this, we had passed 280 subscribers, around 30 new subscribers in the last week and a half or so. And he says he's thinking about starting his own ultralight airplane, a composite ultralight airplane, by the end of the year. And he says, I've been a big inspiration. Well, thank you very much, Rubin. I'm very interested in your ultralight. Keep me up to date on how your build goes. Maybe make a Facebook page or Instagram, post some photos. And if you're really feeling ambitious, make a little YouTube channel and I'll help you promote it. And I think it's Dave Tihey. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Dave has been subscribed for a little while and doesn't just watch the videos, but actually takes screenshots, and I assume that means the design videos, to capture formulas that are being used. And you are trying to build an ultralight completely from scratch. I think that's what you meant. And I haven't been to your Instagram page yet, but I will go and check that out and see how those photos are coming along. And in addition, you say that the channel is helping to make designing and building ultralight a little bit easier for a complete novice. And that's certainly one of the things I want to do. I want to provide information so that anyone that really wants to try to design their airplane or even modify an existing design can at least have the tools necessary to make sure you do it safely. Too many people make modifications to current designs without any idea of what the repercussions are going to be, the negative repercussions. Because just because you make it stiffer or stronger in that one spot doesn't mean you've actually hurt it in another spot. And we'll get into more of that when we get into the structural analysis for the airplane that should be coming up here in a few months. Golden X Starshine says that they are now building a foiling sailboat, and I assume that means a hydrofoil. Now that's pretty cool. The Reynolds number is a little bit higher on that, so that will be an interesting challenge, especially if you want to get into the mathematics of it and figure it out that way instead of trial and error. And certainly there are a lot of similarities between dealing with the hydrodynamics and the aerodynamics. Now, of course, the aerodynamics of the sail is very easy, very similar. Hydrodynamics is a little bit different, and I think you may have made a comment before about selecting an airfoil for selecting the foil shape for a rudder. It was you or another person, and I mentioned that Horner's book on fluid dynamic drag, and I think even fluid dynamic lift, have sections on hydrodynamics, specifically dealing with water. So anyone else out there that's interested in dealing with water instead of air, you might want to look into those. I had a video on the possibility of using Home Depot butyl tape as tacky tape for vacuum bagging. And Super Dave had a comment about being fascinated by slow flight, low flight, and STOL, short takeoff and landing. And I've actually thought about maybe the next project being a short takeoff and landing ultralight. I'll learn a lot from this one about using high lift, since I'm thinking about using that double-slotted flat on the UWS-1. That's a pretty high-lifted device, and it may be short enough takeoff and landing as it is. But there's other possibilities like tilting motors or tilting props, duct air, things like that are worth investigating. Super Dave also had a comment that said, captivating, yes, great science. Thank you, Super Dave. I tend to think of it more as engineering instead of science. Calling it science is perfectly fine. I spent my whole life as an engineer, and I kind of have a mindset of an engineer and attack issues in an engineered manner. And I tend to think of the testing and the analysis that I'm doing just kind of a typical engineering sort of activity. But I certainly don't mind you calling it science. Coming Super Duty was asking a question about some ribs that I have hanging behind me on a lot of the videos. I haven't made a video about that. I made a comment on Facebook about it. Those are ribs for a Hummel Ultra Cruiser. I started that project back in the about the year 2000. And I do have one wing panel completed, but I got to reskin it because it got damaged. I have the bulkheads for the fuselage ready to go. I have all the rib parts for the center section and the other wing panel ready to go. And I have the skin for the rudder ready to go. What I've been doing is, while I'm waiting for epoxy to cure or waiting for a video to render, if it's warm enough outside, I'll clean those parts up for the ribs, take them outside, put a little dab of chromate wherever I'm going to have mating surfaces, and then I'll bring them inside, let them dry, and rivet them together. And what I've been doing is just hanging them as decoration in the shop for now until I get a chance to put them together into the center section and a wing panel for the airplane. So that's kind of a project that gets a little bit of work done on it here and there. And Coming Super Duty also asked if I was going to do some S-Class and E-Glass comparisons to carbon fiber. And yes, I am. In fact, I think today, arriving in the mail, I've got some S-Class and E-Glass. I think the S-Class probably is not going to be used for comparison. I got that for working on the plugs I'm going to be making. I did get some S-Glass to do some comparison. And I do plan on to use a little bit of glass in the airplane on rudder tips and wing tips where there's very little pressure on it. I don't have to worry about twisting. I don't have to worry about the elasticity of the glass, and it'll be much cheaper to use. So some glass will get used in the airplane. Another place might be landing gear, where a little bit springiness is actually good. and where the stiffness of carbon fiber probably would not be good. So yes, I am going to do some comparisons. David left a comment about wondering how I was going to tackle basically the structure of the wings and other flying surfaces. I have some ideas on how I'm going to do that. I really need to finish some of the testing that I'm doing right now to get better strength and stiffness numbers on some of these sandwiches and just plain layups that I've been doing to know how they're going to perform before I can really get that structural part going. And if I can figure out a nice, easy, cheap way to do some finite element analysis, I'll probably do that. But I'm definitely going to be making videos for all of that, so look forward to that. CKA or CKA, I'm not sure which one it is, left an interesting link about using double bagging. And actually, I've heard from the guy, Russ Jimenez, that actually came up with this. And if you are ever at AirVenture Oshkosh, you really want to stop by Russ's tent. He sets a tent up right behind the replica Warbird headquarters where he does composite demonstrations all day long, just about every day. And it's a great experience and you can learn a tremendous amount. So if you're ever at Oshkosh or an AirVenture, make sure you stop by there. I haven't done the double bagging yet. I want to make sure I really have a clear and good understanding of single bagging first, and then I may try the double bagging. Oh, and by the way, Composites World. I subscribe to Composites World. It's a free magazine. It comes, I believe it's either every month or every 2 months, and it has a lot of good information. In fact, recent issues talked about how you can do testing of composites. And I saved those issues because I want to be able to go back and look at that to review it when I do some more of my future composite testing. Oh, this was a good question from Rubin about a comment that I made in the first thrust and horsepower estimate video for the UWS-1 Ultralight. I mentioned that I want to optimize the prop for cruise speed at 55 knots. But in order to climb at 800 feet per minute at best rate of climb, full horsepower would go way over 55 knots, and that would be correct. And since I'm using electric motors and electric speed controller, and I'm going to use a programmable electric speed controller, and I'm thinking about just making my own, what I can do is I can feed airspeed into that speed controller and make sure that it governs the speed of the motor so I don't go over 55 knots when I'm in level cruise. So my throttle then would really become something more like a cruise control on a car where you set the speed you want to go, in this case 55 knots if you pull the throttle all the way forward, and then it'll put as much thrust into it as it needs to go at 55 knots. At least that's what I'm currently thinking. I haven't gotten into the details yet on that, so it may not be practical, but that's the way I can comply with Part 103. First Last had a comment about possibly using polyurethane expanding foam. I can only speak from the experience that I've had with the kind that you can get from Home Depot for like insulating small cracks. That kind of urethane foam has a significant problem where you would not want to use that on anything structural on an airplane. And that's that it does not have uniform bubbles. You'll have big bubbles, you'll have small bubbles, you'll have medium bubbles. And the problem is, particularly where you have large bubbles, the foam is going to be very weak. And we're relying on that foam to carry shear through our parts, and we need to know what that shear strength is. So when we do our calculations, we know the foam can handle whatever shear strength we're going to give to it. With that expanding foam, you have no idea how strong that shear strength of your foam is going to be just because of the variation in bubble size. So at least on that kind of foam, the kind you get in the little can with the long plastic tube on it that you spray out for insulating, I would never use that on a structural part of the airplane. You also asked about the density of the foam. I haven't settled on that. I'm more interested in the shear properties of the foam. Now, the experiments I've been doing is with Divinacell, and that's H45 and H80. The H45 is around 3.5 pounds per cubic foot, and the H80 is about 5 pounds per cubic foot. Oh, this is something I was thinking about making a video about. Aaron asked a question about what kind of book or website might be good for getting equations for control surface effectiveness, lift, drag, things like that. I have a recommendation. A book that I got a little over a month ago that I have really liked, and I've been looking at it online because you can't find portions of it online for older versions, is the second edition of Aerodynamics, Aeronautics, and Flight Mechanics. And that's from Barnes W. McCormick. It is a textbook that's intended to be used for first or second year aerodynamics students, but it is fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. It's one of the better getting to know aerodynamics and the equations involved books. Now, when you start getting into nitty-gritty details and trying to go off on your own, that's when Horner might come in handy with his fluid dynamic drag and fluid dynamic lift books. And of course, there's plenty of other good references out there too. Wasim has asked that I make my spreadsheets publicly available, and I am working on that. Now, some of these are now available if you are either a designer or builder tier patron on Patreon. So they've got access to the spreadsheets and other files I've been working on for design the UWS-1 Ultralight, and I'll keep adding those in there. It's possible that at some future date I will make those publicly available, but I haven't figured that out yet. Those are some of the questions and comments I've had over the last month, and we might do this again. We might do a question and answer video at some point. Well, for the 3 winners, how are you going to get your t-shirts? Make sure you tell me the t-shirt color you want and the size of t-shirt that you want. For the t-shirt color, you have a choice of green with white lettering, black with white lettering, and gray with green lettering. The green t-shirt, there are some limitations on sizes, like the very, very large sizes and the very, very smallest sizes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like if you want a XXX large, I think it's going to be a little bit tough. We can get black in just about any size, and I believe we can also get gray in any size. In order for me to get the t-shirt to you, you're going to have to let me know where to send it to. T-shirt winner Keith is already a design tier patron on Patreon, so I already have his shipping address. For the other 2 winners, you will need to send me an email with the shipping address where you want the t-shirt shipped to. The email address to use, uws@thumpdataworks.com, and I will put text here at the bottom of the screen so that you can see it all spelled out. If you don't want to type in the email address, there's another way to do it, and that's to go to the home page for the channel on YouTube, click on the About tab, and then down on that page, there's going to be a details section, and a little gray button that says View Email Address. You'll click on that, then you got to go through the process of proving you're not a robot, and then once you get through that, then you can click on uws@thumpdataworks.com, and that will bring up your email composer. And thank you once again for everyone that has subscribed, and congratulations to the 3 t-shirt winners. I really enjoyed doing the question and answer part of this video, so let me know if you'd like to see more of that in the comments down below. See you again soon.